got a little sidetracked. I remembered I needed to run to town today so I can get set up for my rubs. I'll show you guys that here in just a minute. While I was there, decided to grab some Roundup, and we're going to start putting the kill on some of these Bradford pear trees. So what you do is, for one thing you can do, you take your drill bit, drill yourself a hole in the side of the tree there. Take your funnel, stick your funnel in there, and then Roundup Concentrate. Roundup Pro would be better, but I think this will do the trick. And you just give it a little drink. Doesn't take much. Oh, come on, get in there. A little bit more. Oh, that's too much. Alright, just like that. Now this tree's gonna die. Perfect. So we're gonna go around all these Bradford pears. This one right here. We'll get them. They're all connected together. They all share roots and the base of the trunk here. So killing this one right here should kill this whole cluster. Same with those ones behind me. I get the biggest one of those. That whole clump should die. So that's the plan anyway. So we're gonna go through here and get all these done. I'm over here by the pond. Get all these done, and then I'll go do biochar, and then I'll go get my rubs put out and rotate cows. You guys will see that momentarily. So this biochar thing's an experiment, right? So I'm trying different things. This one, the sticks look like they did pretty good down at the bottom. This one over here though, and I didn't tear these books up hardly at all. Or at all. As you can see, this one's pretty much untouched. That one, this barrel didn't do so well. I could tell as soon as I went to pull it out because it's still really heavy. This one's quite a bit lighter, so I think it did better. The sticks do better than the paper, I think. Especially better than these books. So what we'll do is we'll put this back in there and we'll just burn it again. And I'm going to dig down into this one, get all the sticks out, but I'm betting the books down at the bottom, I bet they didn't do very well either. So we'll put more sticks in there, and then we'll burn it all again. Maybe this one did better, I don't know. So I'm going to dig down to the bottom of this and see. So some stuff, like that's what it's supposed to look like. That's not. And if we burn it again and it just doesn't work, then I'll know that doesn't work. We'll not do this again anymore. Not this way anyway. We'll just stick to the sticks. And the cardboard that I did in the first barrel, the first experiment, it did really well, but it was all just tore up boxes that I had shoved in there, not entire books. So I'd wondered if this would be a problem, and apparently it is. So anyway, let me get down to the bottom of the barrel here and we'll see how it all did. This one's more or less the same once I got past the sticks. I mean, this almost worked. See, some of that's good. That's what I want. But not real effective to do it that way. So I think what we'll do, I got to go get that rub put out. I got to rotate the cow. So I'm going to do that first, and then we'll come back to this. And I'll start this again. And what we'll do this time is I'll tear the books up, tear all the paper up. That way it's not quite as dense. I think that will work better. And we'll light it off again. We'll see what happens. So let me go show you this rub and how that works. Alright, so that's it. It's a rub. All this is just a big tube of a absorbent, basically. That's red dye, farm diesel. And here's the actual chemical. This is permethrin. I'm actually familiar with this. When I was in high school, I worked for an exterminator, and we used to fog warehouses with this stuff. So it's got a lot of uses. Apparently this is one of them. So what we'll do is I'll mix that in here with the farm diesel, and just a jug that I could pour would be better, but I don't have one. So I figure I'll put it in this and just keep the pressure real low, and then I can just spray that on top of it and just soak the whole thing. What we'll do though is we'll string that up in a high traffic area, and then when the cows walk underneath it, they'll rub across it and they'll get a little bit of that on them, and then that will kill any flies that land on them. That's the idea anyway. So I'm going to mix this up. The package says it needs about 2 gallons of the mix, so this is a 1 gallon sprayer. So I'll do this one today, and then tomorrow I'll have another batch mixed up whenever I go to rotate them, and then I will soak it again. So that's the plan. I'm gonna get this mixed up, and then we'll go get it hung up. Remember how I said that they would learn the routine and then they'd be expecting to move every day? Well, when I first got out here, they were waiting right over by where I'm going to open the fence up for them. When I came over here, they all came over to wait. So they know I'm about to give them something. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see there's a ton of flies on these girls. They're shaking and batting at them. They don't like it. So we're going to start trying to relieve that problem. Here's what I've got. So you just want to hang this in a kind of a high traffic area. So right here, they'll all walk underneath this to go get water, I figure. Some of them might kind of get out over here and underneath of it, but most of them, the majority of them, are going to go underneath that and rub up against it on their way to get a drink. So let's put the chemical in it. Ah, peace and quiet again. They are so annoying right before I move them. They just constantly making noise. I had a tick on my hand. Just because they're excited. They know I'm about to let them into new grass and they can't wait. They just sit there and yell at me and yell at me and yell at me until I finally get the fence opened up, and it's peace and quiet. It's like at a restaurant when all the food comes out. Quiet. Nothing but the sound of knives and forks. Out here it's nothing but the sound of chomping grass. Open them up for an acre and a half today because I don't think they had enough over there. Now this, if it all looked like this, man, I'd be in good shape. Unfortunately, it doesn't. But as we work our way this way, the grass gets better because there's less trees. It's more open. It looks like it's been taken care of a little bit better out here in some of these bigger areas where they could get a tractor in. And maybe that's just the grass did better out there because it had more sun, and so the weeds have been choked out. Not sure. Out here, though, in the middle, you can see the trees and stuff sticking up. Still a lot of crap over there. But generally speaking, this acre and a half that I just cut open for them is much higher quality grass than what they've been on before. So I think I've been kind of underfeeding them, unfortunately, for the last couple of days because of that. I mean, every time I think, well, this looks better, and we'll see tomorrow, I'll be saying the same thing. And I'll think, well, this looks like a better piece of grass, but then you come back out here the next day and it's like, well, geez, that's not better at all. It looks horrible. So many vines and stuff in there. So I know the middle section of this is going to be just like this, but there's a big area over there and then a decent area right through here that doesn't have a whole lot of weeds in it. So I'm hoping this is going to be enough for them. If I need to keep opening it up for them and give them more and more, then I will. Give them as much as they want, as much as they need. To me, this area still looks basically overgrazed. So there's still stuff that's tall, but that's the long kind of stems that they don't like as well. The grass and stuff that they prefer to eat, they've eaten. I mean, it's down to the ground. So, like I said, to me, that's a little overgrazed. Maybe I'll show you one other spot here in just a second, but I gotta pick up all these fence posts, and oh, they're tight. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I was excited to get them over here. Man, the weeds over here are way worse than I thought. Just to look out over it, it didn't look that bad. Now that I'm out here, it's daunting. I got a lot of work cut out for me. This is it's gonna be a lot of work to get this in shape. So I'm trading some work for my neighbor, and she's gonna help me mow this. So I'm gonna spray it to kill all the broadleaves. We'll give it about a week or so for that to take hold, and then once everything out here dies except for the grass, I'll get her to come out here and mow this. So I'm going to help her with some welding, and they have a big, like 16-foot batwing bush hog. Thing's awesome, so they'll be able to make short work of this. And then while I'm spraying this and mowing it, we'll be working the cows across this side. And then once I get them back across the creek, we'll spray that side, mow it, and hopefully we'll be kind of on the road to recovery here. Look at them go. They're so excited. So see, that's the other thing it tells me. They didn't have enough out here today. So acre and a half today, and I think this is going to be better forage for them. Tomorrow, who knows, though, I might get out here and decide to give them 2 acres. So more ticks on me. Deer ticks. All right, let me get this fence picked up. I told you guys how great my neighbors are. They're awesome. So I called the other day. I sent them a text. I said, man, my tomato plants just aren't looking very good. And I said, you got any recommendations? She said, yeah, feed them. Okay. Well, what do I feed them? So she said, well, I was thinking she was going to say, go to the store or get some kind of fertilizer. She says, well, what I do is I take a bunch of fish parts. I put those in a 5-gallon bucket, a few inches thick, a few inches of hay, a few inches of fish. Fill the bucket up, fill the whole thing up with hay, and then seal the bucket off, let it sit in the sun for a few days. I said, okay, I guess I need to go fishing. So she says, well, now I've got some, so I'll bring you a little jug of it. Awesome. So even better. She texted me back a little while later. She says, hey, do you have any Epsom salts? She says, they probably have transplant shock. A little bit of magnesium would be good for them. So I said, no, I don't. I can get some, though. She says, well, I have some. I'll just mix some in with this jug that I give you. Roger that. I show up the next day, and I got this sitting on my steps. So, fish emulsion with Epsom salts. Give 3 tea to 1 gallon of H2O. Shake up to mix the bottom. So, okay, cool. And then she saw me out here last week giving this to him. And so she ran over, she says, hey, I saw you out here feeding your tomato plants, and I just thought I'd tell you, you should probably give them a little bit more than what I put on the bucket there, because I had to dilute it with water to get it to pour into the jug. So, okay, cool. So she came over, she looked at my plants and stuff, and gave me a few other tips. She used to run a greenhouse, so she's pretty knowledgeable when it comes to all things plants. That's why I called her, texted her rather. Love it though. Not only had a good solution, but hooked me up with some of her own fish goo stock. That's what I got here. Mix it with some water. My coffee can. It's pungent. It smells terrible, but I guess the tomato plants like it. So, hey, whatever. Seems to be helping. A couple of them. If we look at this one here, he's not doing so good. And that one over there, it's pretty much dead. This little guy. Poor thing. Not sure what happened. Didn't do real well though. My artichokes are, no, eggplants are dead. Eggplants don't grow out here, I guess. At least not if I plant them. We'll try them again later. I didn't do anything to research how you're supposed to plant them, or what type of soil they need, or anything like that. So I probably just did something wrong. She also said that I should spread my hay back away from them a little bit, just for a little while, to help the ground warm up. The hay will insulate the ground, and they need warm ground. So, okay, did that on all the plants. But other than that, everything's looking pretty good. Now, these kind of peppers, what are those? Those are bell peppers. See them? Looking kind of pathetic. I don't know if they would want the same thing. I might give them some here in just a minute, just to try it, since I've got it. Can't hurt. Pimento peppers don't look real great either. My hot peppers though seem to be doing better, so that's cool. My artichokes, I thought they were dead, but they are coming back, so that's cool. And check this out. There's a bunch of grass coming up in here. Do you see all of these? All of these big things? Onions. Lots of onions. So grass is coming up in there with them. It's kind of unfortunate, but not a real big deal. Pretty cool though. I've never grown onions before, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I don't know how long they take to mature. I should probably do some research, figure it out. One thing I've noticed about this hay mulch, is that it grows grass. Grows right up through it. So that's good. I've noticed that in my pastures. It's not so good in here. But I like it where I've put hay out in the pastures where there's still kind of a mat of it. Grass comes right up through it and the weeds don't. So it's actually, to me, kind of seems beneficial. So, alright, one more batch of this and we'll be done feeding tomato plants for this week.